The voice of sharing, DurianASEAN.
ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hi, this is Arlene, and of course you are listening to me to ASEAN Daily, the voice of discovery and sharing, where we bring you news from Southeast Asia. First of all, news from Malaysia. A Hong Kong student activist, Joshua Wong, was barred from Malaysia. Apparently the teenager who has been the face of Time magazine at one point, and also the face of the umbrella movement in Hong Kong, a pro-democracy student movement, he was refused entry to Malaysia, where he was scheduled to attend a series of forums relating to the 1989 Tiananmen Square crackdown. He is only 18 years old, but he is definitely very vigorous in terms of his political stance on democracy, especially in Hong Kong. And in a statement he posted in his social media accounts that he was banned from leaving Malaysia's Penang airport upon arrival because of a government order. He cited an immigration official had said, as saying he was put on a Dragon Air flight back to Hong Kong the same day. The convener of student protest group Scholarism was due to speak at a series of events organized by a group known as the Malaysian Working Group on the 26th anniversary of June 4th. Malaysia deported Mr. Wong according to standard procedures, as he was on the list of people barred from entering the country. This was actually expressed by Mustafa Ibrahim, Director General of the Immigration Department of Malaysia. Actually, I think when it comes to the issue of people being barred from entering the Malaysian shore, of course, the question would be why. But perhaps in this case, it's quite obvious. It was also reported in international news on this particular issue. I think Malaysia has closely allied itself to China, and anything that would jeopardize the relationship between our country and China would definitely prompt a Malaysian government to take action in terms of barring certain people, especially when it comes to the Hong Kong student activist Joshua Wong, who has been very critical towards China, especially on China's move to somehow curb the democracy in Hong Kong. And what we are seeing right now is China is gripping Southeast Asia and Malaysia in particular on the freedom of expression. So in other words, it seems like we do not really have not freedom not just in Malaysia, within Malaysia, but also in terms of getting people who have voices that they want to be heard. Probably the Malaysian government is well aware that it needs to protect the relationship between Malaysia and China, but how far Malaysia should go to do such thing. So in other words, also maybe we should reevaluate ourselves in terms of what is our stance on freedom of expression, on democracy, on creating spaces for young people to voice out their concern. And in this case, it seems like what is happening right now is definitely 10 steps backwards for Malaysia's democratic image in the eyes of the international community. So regarding on the Malaysian Working Group on the 26th anniversary of June 4th, it was made up of various Malaysian groups such as Perak Civic Group and Penang Chinese Media Journalists and Photographers Association. Mr. Wong was invited to speak at several events in Penang, Ipoh, Johor, Petaling Jaya and Kuala Lumpur between May 27 and June 4th. And it seems like he is unable to come to Malaysia, and he also a lot of Malaysians also tweeted about it. For example, Michelle Yesudes from Lawyers from Liberty tweeted that Joshua Wong, who is just 18, too dangerous to step foot in Malaysia, strange and embarrassing. That is something that I agree. Like, would it be a bit strange for Malaysian government to be scared of just a kid? Anyway, the topic that Mr. Wong that will be sharing, unfortunately he's unable to share, in Malaysia is a topic that the Chinese government is trying to curb, which is the Chinese Democratic Development formed between 1989 to the Occupy protests. So these are topics that Beijing is trying as hard as it can to curb, not just within its region, but also, I guess, within the Southeast Asia region as well. On another news, Bangladesh Prime Minister says that migrants are mentally sick. Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina slammed the country's economic migrants, many of whom are stranded in dire conditions at sea, calling them mentally sick and accusing them of hurting the country's image. Calling the boat people mentally sick for fleeing search of jobs, the premier said they could have better lives in Bangladesh. They are tainting Bangladesh's image in the international arena. He also called on authorities to halt the flow of migrants and take action against human traffickers. Along with brokers of human trafficking, punishment will have to be given to those who are moving out of the country illegally, she was quoted saying. What's your say about this particular issue? Do you think the Rohingya and the Bangladeshi economic migrants are a hindrance towards Bangladeshi perhaps quote-unquote good image? In my perspective, I think it's a bit too much to call them mentally sick. I think for a lot of people throughout centuries, migrating from one area to another area for economic reasons is natural, and it's something that human beings have been doing for so long, and that explains why we migrated from all the way from Africa to the rest of the world, of course. And on another news about migrants and also refugees, the Rohingya and Bangladeshi will be housed at federal government facilities. The Home Ministry of Malaysia challenged Penang to be the champion of human rights it claimed to be by giving shelter to stranded Rohingya and Bangladeshi migrants and refugees. As they had come to arrange to this. And his statement came after Penang Chief Minister Lim Guan Eng had asked for the migrants to be sheltered in federal-owned land, saying that the state lacked space and had not been consulted by the National Security Council. Dr. Ahmad Zahid said several locations besides Penang had been identified as temporary sites for the stranded migrants and insisted that the DAP-led state take them in. The Home Minister, who challenged Penang to be the champion of human rights it claimed to be by giving shelter to stranded Rohingya and Bangladeshi, said that they have come to this arrangement. In terms of what is happening right now is definitely a problem that will be brewing larger and larger if it's not being solved at the end of the day, because they can't be treated as human ping pong balls. At the end of the day, they need the shelter. I think the state government of Penang and the federal government need to sit down together and solve this issue amicably. It is important that they get the necessary shelter, food, and also facilities and basic needs for them to be able to survive until the day they are being sent to countries that would allow refugee-ins. But I think at the end of the day, it's not so much about just the issue of shelter. I think Malaysia's perception and idea about refugees and economic migrants are still very much skewed and biased, and I think we are ignorant and lack information about that, about how to properly deal with refugees and economic migrants. I think a lot of awareness and education on our part is important so that we don't somehow violate human rights of these people. On another hand, we will take a short break. When we return, we will discuss more on the news in Southeast Asia.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hi, this is Arlene. You're back again on our ASEAN Daily. So to continue our news today, just a bit of an update of what is happening in Malaysia. Apparently there's a leaked letter in Penang that has caused uproar, and the Penang government is under fire over a leaked letter on affordable housing, which states that only 1 Malay and 32 Chinese applicants will be offered the 300,000 units in Bayan Lepas. Many said that they were shocked that only a single Malay applicant got approved, and expressed fear that the community was being sidelined in Penang. The letter, signed by a senior officer in the State Secretariat's Housing Division, instructed the developer to issue offer letters to the approved applicants. State House Committee Chairman Jagdeep Singh Deo confirmed the letter and called for calm. This is only the first batch of applicants who qualified for the total of 2,685 affordable housing units in this project. They received 238 applications and the rest are still being processed. Well, on the other hand, from Malaysia, we move to our giant brother, which is, of course, China. China to project its military further and stronger. China said early this week that it will project its military power further beyond its borders at sea and more assertively in the air. Perhaps that explains why Malaysia barred that Joshua Wong, the pro-democracy student from Hong Kong, to enter Malaysia. On the other hand, what China is also expressing is it wants more power in terms of militaristic power on the sea as well as in the air, defending the construction of artificial islands which sparked concern in Washington on the South China Sea. The People's Liberation Army Navy will put a greater emphasis on open seas protection rather than offshore waters defense, alone the State Council. China's cabinet said in a white paper. At the same time, its air force will shift focus from territorial air defense to both defense and offense. The paper was released with China and the US as loggerheads over Beijing's rapid island building in contested parts of South China Sea, which Beijing claims almost in the entirety. China last week declared that its military drove away a US surveillance aircraft flying near the artificial islands after US media witnessed a tense radio exchange. China has protested to Washington over the flight, calling it highly irresponsible and dangerous, and warning that such actions could cause unwanted incidents. Official media also said early this week that China will build 2 50-meter high lighthouses on reefs in the Spratly Islands, which are also claimed by Vietnam and the Philippines. The white paper singled out the US announced rebalancing towards Asia and Japan's revision of some of its defense policies as objects of concern. China remains far behind the United States in military capabilities and reach despite recent increases in defense spending. So I guess in other words, there's still a long way for us to see a superpower China in terms of militaristic superpower. But at the other hand, I think it's important for people to be concerned about what's happening right now on the South China Sea, especially it involves ASEAN. It is a regional bloc as a whole. On the other hand, good platforms for Sabah SMEs to network in ASEAN. So how can Sabah benefit from ASEAN and the AEC? The ASEAN SME Showcase and Conference 2015 is a good platform for SMEs in Sabah and Sarawak to establish network with their counterparts in the region and expand their businesses. And with Malaysia's chairmanship of ASEAN 2015, the opportunity is available to the SMEs to showcase their products. The SME conference with the team ASEAN to Hear the Voice of Borneo is hosted by Malaysia from March 26 to March 28 in conjunction with the event. The Borneo Post conducted an exclusive interview with Sabah State Director SME Corps Mio Sharil Isma. The awareness among SMEs in Sabah is still very low, just like the rest of Malaysia perhaps. Most SMEs in Sabah produce for local markets, so they do not believe ASEAN offer them benefits. Those that are aware that are those that are taking advantage of the opportunities offered under ASEAN, such as market access through AFTA, which allowed them to import the raw materials, intermediate goods, either at lower or zero duties, and export at a more competitive price because their goods are subjected to reciprocal treatment by Malaysia's FTA partners in ASEAN. The ASEAN SME Showcase and Conference 2015 sets to deliberate on the achievements, challenges, and potential of SMEs in ASEAN. It provides a platform to further expose ASEAN SMEs, especially the Sarawak SMEs, to business opportunities within a progressive economic region. He said and pointed out that the SMEs conference would also provide an excellent opportunity within a progressive economic region, and pointed out that it will also provide excellent chance to exchange ideas and establish business linkages among the ASEAN member country. We'll take another short break. When we return, we will discuss more on Indonesia as well as some other issues that is happening within Southeast Asia.
ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hi, this is Arlene. You're back with me again on ASEAN Daily. So, when it comes to news about politics, of course, we definitely think about Jokowi and Indonesia because for some reason I just want to mention about it. This is in regards with Jokowi's renewing the government's commitment to spur economic growth in the eastern part of the country. In this case, it's actually West Papua, with a promise to build a large seaport in Sorong, calling it as an important step to lure investors in the area. It's for a long time. West Papua has been seen as, I guess, the black sheep of the entire of Indonesia. But nowadays, ever since Jokowi stepped in as president, Papua has been seen as being part of the bigger vision of what Indonesia see itself in the region of Southeast Asia and perhaps in the region of Asia Pacific. Speaking during the Trade and Investment Forum on East Indonesia, the president acknowledged that the poor infrastructure was a major factor discouraging investors from setting up businesses in the underdeveloped region of West Papua. Jokowi said that the government will kick off in July the construction of a seaport stretching across a 7,000 hectare area in Sorong, West Papua, along with an industrial zone and power plant. Jokowi said that to support its goal of food self-sufficient, the government would soon start a project to develop large-scale farming in Merauke, Papua, and would be committed to build supportive infrastructure such as roads, seaports, and irrigation channels. The project will cover 1.2 million hectares and will focus on key crops such as paddy, corn, and sugarcane. Currently, investments in eastern Indonesia have reached 50 million. The money has been channeled into fishing, agriculture, and animal husbandry sectors, according to Kadin, head of investment banking, finance, and business development in eastern Indonesia. And also what we are seeing right now is there's an enormous potential that can be developed in eastern Indonesia. But definitely providing infrastructural support is something that is really, really important for the development of that particular region. The project in Papua follows the groundbreaking of another seaport project that took place last week in Makassar, South Sulawesi. Statistics from the Investment Coordinating Board, or BKPM, showed that 56.9% of the total investment of 463.1 trillion rupiah, or in US dollar would be 35.15 billion US dollar, realized last year was spent in Indonesia's most densely populated island, Java. A large number of investors has found that the area outside of Java, notably in the eastern part of the sprawling archipelago, are less attractive because of poor infrastructure and, of course, shortage of skilled labor. Jokowi said that to support its goal of food self-sufficiency, the government would soon start a project to develop large-scale farming in that particular area, and they invite investment. Invite any investment. The 70% share can be held by state-owned enterprises, while the remaining 30% can be owned by private firms. Plans for integrated farming of undue food estates were earlier revealed by state-owned enterprises Minister Rini Somano. According to Rini, the project to synergize the whole process from seeding to fertilizing will involve state-owned fertilizer producer PT Pupuk Indonesia Holding Company, seeding firm PT Sanghyang Seri, and agribusiness firm PT Pertani. And on another news, apparently Star Trek fan has built his own USS Enterprise, and this comes as the news that a Chinese millionaire and self-confessed Star Trek obsessed fan has boldly gone for where no man has gone before, with the design of his company headquarters erected in the shape of the USS Enterprise. It was built by Trekkie Liu Dejian, the boss of mobile internet app developer Snapdragon Websoft, at a cost of $160 million US dollar. So there you go. You have money, you build your own Star Trek. And I can tell you the photos of that particular building is amazing. And yeah, I would love to visit that place. It seems like it's kind of cool to have a Star Trek in the middle of a business center. So that's all for our news today. You can always follow us on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course listen to our podcast on YouTube and on our Durian TV. You can listen to our video campaigns and event coverage. Of course, you can always keep up with us at our website, which is DurianASEAN.com, and on via your mobile at by downloading the TuneIn app and search for DurianASEAN. That's all from me, signing off today, Arlene. Have a great day. Bonjour.